I don't think there's a ton we can change about this as it currently is. Like, we have a few flex slots. I'm not sure if Spirit Leech is necessary compared to the second Rite of Negation. I probably do need a second Rite, but it does lead to some clunky hands in a lot of cases. Which is pretty awkward. And yeah, I think Fading Memories is probably a 0 of. That's probably the one thing that can come out of this deck very easily. So what do I replace Fading for? We've got a nice flexible slot there. Azir Hecarim. I probably have to full mull. This should be pretty unfavored. This is a deck that doesn't run out of steam very easily. It's a bit of a slower aggro game plan, but it's very uninteractable. On average. I mean, it has some nut draws. Actually can't block that either. Run one of Withering Wail. Yeah, stuff like Wail can help matchups like this too. I swear people say if you aren't Targon or build, you're just the worst region in the game. I mean, to be fair, there's a little truth to that. I wonder, this is a matchup that normally the biggest weak point of Ephemerals is that they have no defense, but against our deck, we don't have the ability to punish that. He's not on like a nut draw at least though. Not attacking with Shark Chariot. Interesting. Yeah, not being able to trigger Maokai in 4 I think is fine here. Okay, so each of these sea scarabs has tossed once so far. All right, each of these sea scarabs has tossed twice so far. All right. Each of these sea scarabs has now tossed 4 times. So they're Jettison plus a Bada already. Ooh. Well, that death will still happen. It's still a tough matchup to race down, but having Vengeance for Hecarim is going to be pretty important. Okay, so 4 so far. And I mean, when he attacks in, the Blighted Caretaker will be 5. Ah, good old sea scarabs. Gives me like a warm, tingly feeling. If I play the Maokai, how many blockers do we have? I can't play the Maokai first as much as I want to. Don't I just play the defensive caretaker? So now I play the ephemeral caretaker. So 5 tosses so far for each sea scarab. 6, 7, 8. Okay, they've each tossed 8. All right, I'm deep. It's turn 5. These 4/5s are actually kind of funny. I might be able to do a weird attack with them. Okay, so Maokai's flipped on 6 here. I think if you have like a nut draw, you can flip Maokai on 5, but that's a little bit harder. Open attack is kind of good, but we lose the free 2 attacker. And I think I do actually want to pressure Azir for free. It's probably just Maokai into Horny Toad. I think that's better. The Isles will bloom again. Nothing fancy going on here. I'm just deleting his deck his turn. Okay. Hecarim's pretty scary. He now has an open attack that can dodge Vengeance. I can also take a glimpse if I want an additional tool on this open, maybe. I could see that. Dragging the Hecarim kind of does very little. I want to be able to kill this Azir on a 2-turn clock, so I think I need to drag the Azir. Interesting. I mean, we always take the glimpse here. You need Whale? Yeah, I think, I mean, you guys definitely might be right, especially in this meta. Whale might be necessary. Super possible. Vile, yeah, he's not playing around Vile, which is very bizarre, but I mean, it's not like I'm mind glimpsing this because it doesn't tap me under Vengeance. And this Vengeance is basically 100% committed. Aren't you milling yourself? No, because I have infinite Maokais to shuffle back. You want to draw before you toss, because tosses take from the bottom of the deck but can't hit champions, which means your other Maokais accumulate at the bottom of your deck. The only problem is we end up with 4 blockers instead of 5. And he does have a 6 white attack. Vengeance will kill the Hecarim unless he has right. If he open attacks, that means he has to have right. Okay, so Onslaught of Had Shadows here. And now, if he's got right, then he probably wins the game, because this Vengeance needs to be able to go through. And we don't have, like, a rewrite. But I shouldn't have a choice but to use it now, right? I don't think so. Like, he would take the attack with right anyway. So, he's able to shuffle 1 Hecarim back into his deck. But he no longer has the double Hecarim. Which means he only gets 1 shuffle. Put blockers. Was that better? Putting blockers with this mana instead and then just using Vengeance next turn. I might have had my own right next turn. That's interesting. I could see that. His right negates his own spell too. Yeah, that would have been a cute bonus. Wait, does it? I thought right only worked on enemies. So I can kill off my own Sea Scarabs, but I'm immune to toss since, you know, my deck is low anyway. So he's dealing Neverglade damage here. If he has a second Azir too, that's bad for me. Basically, the one problem with this deck is that if the opponent draws a lot of champions and they're double shuffling things in, then Vengeance and Right are not always enough. But that's why we attacked the Azir the first time, because we knew we were going to have to Vengeance the Hecarim. And we knew we wanted to set the Azir to 2 health here. So the last card in my deck is the other Maokai. And I still have Rampaging Bakai as a functional option here. He doesn't have a lot of protection for either of these. I think I go in to try to kill the Azir first. I don't think there's much value in playing the Blighted Caretaker first. So I think this is a pretty simple open attack. Bakai can kill Hecarim at 4 attack. I mean, I guess I can play Caretaker first, and then if he plays Hecarim, that's a lot more vulnerable. Is that better here? Might need to Dead Bloom though. I think that's quite a bit worse. I think I'd rather just kill this. Unless you're relying on him misplaying. And now that he's at 3 mana, I think I just slap the Collector. So the Azir's dead. He would have needed to have drawn all 3 Hecarims. This deck is nuts against Fizz TF. Is it? I haven't tried that matchup yet. I mean, it certainly might seem like that because when we mill, they die, but I mean, there's a lot of other factors going on. Like, for example, the factor of me not running Withering Wail in this deck for some reason. That's a bit of a weird one. Okay. So yeah, I mean, he can pass there because he knows I can't pass back yet. Just kind of cute. He can Harrowing here. I do have 6 wide blockers. Yeah, I agree, guys. Whale would be good. Isn't Spiritfire kind of better than Whale, though? It depends on the meta. I don't know. What do you guys think? In this deck right now, would I run Whale or Spiritfire? Hang on, let me make a poll. They're both pretty close. Alright, pulls up. Yep, seems about right. I'm also leaning a bit towards Whale right now, but yeah, I mean, it's just completely dependent on like what more people are seeing. I think this deck wants like the 5 mana size. Yeah, I mean, he's not threatening much of an attack here yet, so I don't think we really have to do anything yet. As soon as Hecarim comes down, though, that'll force something out. Okay. I mean, no attack. He's just hoping to top deck something. Alright. Keep him coming, dude. Here we go again. Maokai's back in. And I'll pass. And I think he's, I think it's sinking in. Because even if he has another Hecarim or something like that, and he does have one more Hecarim, he either just drew it there or it's at the bottom. He only has one more attack. And the Hecarim won't be buffed by both Inspiring Marshals, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if that might have been a misplay. So now we need to fill our board, basically, so that when he open attacks, we have a 6-wide block. Pretty straightforward. Could it possibly matter what I attack with a sapling? I don't see how. Alright. And we should have more than enough health here. So he's got 2 Harrowings. The other one is going to have Overwhelm and it'll be buffed by Ephemeral. That's actually a lot of Overwhelm damage, but it still shouldn't be quite enough.
I'm basically
Couldn't he have reshuffled? Because he had one Hecarim died. If he used Harrowing, the Hecarim in his hands turns into the reshuffle Hecarim. That's interesting. So this one's 16. This one's 6. Got a little bit of lifesteal here. Yeah, Overwhelm's a little bit awkward too. But yeah, if he had done that reshuffle, we didn't have an answer with our current hands. Okay. So at 4, I don't see what he could do about this. Is it safer to... Yeah, it's safer to, like, lifesteal off of one of the others, I guess. Not that it matters. Sure. I mean, it doesn't matter. Okay. Not even close? Yeah, not even a little close. Alright, seems good, guys. We just go ahead and casually pass this turn. I gotta go take a wee real quick. This deck just closes it out for us. Hey Swim, this deck is pretty cool. I noticed that you end up tossing a lot of cards and your deck gets smaller. There's some cool cards in Bilgewater that actually get stronger when you go deep into your deck. Maybe try using some of those cards. Alright, thanks guys. Unironically, is Noxus pretty good at control now? Yeah, they have the ability to play non-aggro game plans, basically. Which, it doesn't have to be controlled necessarily, but a lot of like weird mid-range styles you can do with Noxus now. And it won't be bad. Let's try this. I'm really liking the Predict card, Chronomancer. I think that card definitely does have to be solid here. If you run Thresh, can you get away from entry effects? So I've tried Thresh in these styles of decks. It's possible. I mean, that's definitely your best bet if you want to try it. Oh, new shiny Maokai. Oh, perfect. So I mean, his Azir can still attack on the left side if it wants. Would Vaults of Helia be effective as a Maokai tutor?
Death is coming.
No.
Keep your distance.
I mean, I guess I can actually solo block this. That is kind of nice, but it's also a little purposeless. My Dead Bloom's health will kind of eventually matter. I think I just do this, actually. Well, actually, my whale gets better if I do solo block it, because this will just add a whale later. Yeah, I'll just do this and set up for a whale on turn 5. This is sort of telegraphing a whale if he's really thinking about it. But, I mean, who's really thinking about it?
These isles will be cleansed.
I mean, he'll open attack, and if he's got Rite of Negation, it will be pretty sad. If he doesn't, I guess we just win the game on the spot. Why did you cut the 0 mana drops? I decided, like, slowing down the strategy was more important. One of Pesky isn't really useful as a development punisher because the deck already has such powerful access to those, mostly in the form of Dunekeeper and Blighted Caretaker. So it's not really good to block with and just ends up being only good for the proactive plan. So we whale, assuming he's got, we block assuming he has Rite of Negation basically. So we block exactly like we would if we wanted this to go through, which is, I'm actually okay with my Maokai taking more damage here. This is probably fine. Neat. Well, I mean, stopping that entire attack feels pretty good. 7 out of 4. I wonder how hard into Slay we'd have to go to run one Sanctum Conservator in this deck. That sounds hard. That sounds really hard, though. I don't know, Shurima's just such a perfect support region. Like, Shurima's the best support region in the game. It's so good for this. Okay, so we can kill the Azir with Bakai. Looks good. Bakai plus the sapling.
I'm basically 1/8 gay.
Can you run Bloodney as Maokai tutor since you don't have any other 4-cost units?
Can you run what? I missed that. Gluttony? What? So you'd have to run Undying? Or what are the 3-cost Death Wish? That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Does Gluttony actually pull champions? I didn't think it did. Gluttony only summons followers? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to do any attack other than this. Although I actually kind of do want to, nah. No reason to give any value to something weird like Quicksand. So this should be another win.
Do not see what is, see what will be. Shurima, see what I see. Carry it with you. Emperor, I am honored.
Okay, so the sapling summoning doesn't really matter. Wait, Chronomancer has weird synergy with Stalking Shadows. Wait a second. I didn't even notice that somehow. Wait, that'll actually happen a decent amount of the time. Hang on. That's neat. In this case, we're just going for vengeance, though.
I don't want to meet whatever woke you up.
That is actually kind of sick.
Business as usual.
Yeah, man, I love this deck. This is really unique.
Remember back in the days when this Lee Sin region, was it called Ionia, was the perfect support region?
Lee Sin
I miss
region.
those times, man.
Same.
You defile the grove. Spears ready.
I'm kind of aight just doing this. I do kind of want more of my own units to die, though.
Don't touch it.
Yeah! Looks pretty good. Yep, looks great. Kind of weird that my Dead Bloom is blocking for 3 less health, but... whatever.
Stand down.
So the top card in our deck... This one doesn't shuffle the deck, right? The top card of our deck is currently Vengeance, and playing this shouldn't change that. Unless it shuffles like one of the other 4 and that shuffle happens to hit the top, of course. We're at 11 slays. And it's turn 8. I wonder if this deck could run Sanctum Conservator. That'd be really funny. I'll be honest with you guys. A large part of the reason, the initial reason I put Rampage in this list was because I wanted to test Sanctum Conservator, but I was too lazy to counter all the slays every game myself. So this just tells me how many slays I've done every game. So now we can determine whether Sanctum Conservator... Oh! Oh, it's huge. Pog. Oh, it's tiny. Why does my guy have an attack here? I had 1 Sanctum. Alright, we're at like 14 slays right now. Yeah, yeah. Alright, good luck. So we've killed 2 Azirs. Alright, 3 more turns. This deck gets countered by a Azir 3, dumbass. Yeah, that's true. If you flip Azir and get to the Emperor's deck, we get screwed. So wait a second. If I'm against the Mono Shurima deck, I would need to wait to play Maokai until after the Emperor's deck came out. Oh, that's so weird. Alright, look at all this damage. Why even mill them? What's the point? Like... What if we just run Sea Scarab in, like, an aggro? This 2 mana just turns into a 4/5 really fast. How stupid is that? It's pretty stupid.
The desert by my side.
Blighted Caretaker. Uh-oh. Everything's about to get spell shield. Whoops. Alright, one left. Make it count. Well, we tried. The sad thing is we would have won by damage because we had lethal on our next attack. Aggro with Maokai alternate win con? Yeah, exactly.